What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Optimize You podcast. We are the podcast helping you optimize feeling and looking your best every single week. If you're new to the podcast, make sure you subscribe. If you're not new, make sure you share it with a friend, coworker, family member. We appreciate all the help. And now in today's podcast.
So today we're going over one of the biggest things that I see that hold people back. So this episode is going to be for you if you're somebody who has got results, you've done a diet, you've consistently engaged in a weight training or a fitness program, and you've got results, but you really struggle to keep them. If that's you, stay tuned in. This episode is going to be exactly for you. I'm going to go over one of the things that nobody really talks about, and I'm going to give you a process, a step-by-step process that you can implement. So if this is you, you can apply these 5 things. I'm going to give you 5 steps here that you can implement in your health and fitness journey to break through those sticking points, to break through those plateaus, to break through those times that you've gone through that vicious cycle time and time again. And so today we're going to get into it. So if you're somebody who has gotten results, you've done a challenge, you've done a workout program, you've done a nutrition protocol, and you actually had goals and ambitions of losing body fat, recompositioning your body, meaning gaining more muscle and just slimming down, getting more tone. You want to improve your overall health and well-being. You've engaged, you've embarked on some sort of journey, but you were unsuccessful in terms of keeping the results that you got. It wasn't a matter of getting the results. You actually got the results, but your ability to maintain them was minimal. Stay tuned in. This is going to be awesome for you. Okay. So a lot of times people think that they don't have the time. That's a common one that I hear. Or they were doing something and they got success with one program and they didn't have an exit strategy or an exit plan or something to do after to maintain sustainable results or long-term results. They just did something for a short term or a quick fix. And again, it wasn't a lack of getting results. You could have lost the weight, you could have built the muscle, but you were doing it in a way where you're cutting corners, or you're also in the boat of maybe you were doing things consistently so much to the point where you hit a sticking point, right? I've talked to people like that, man, I just can't seem to get past 185 pounds, or I just can't seem to get past X body weight. You just feel like you're stuck. You feel like you're doing all the things correctly. And it's enough to worry you, discourage you, frustrate you to the point where you actually just jump ship and you go to the next thing. Or even worse, you give into your old habits that you had before you embarked on the program or protocol that you were on, that slowly but surely those habits start creeping back in. And before you know it, you're back to the original body that you started with, or in some cases, even worse, right? You've gained more weight. You've really slid down that slope and it was really slippery. And now you're at a point where you're actually in a worse starting place than you were before you started that protocol that you were super successful with temporarily, right? So if that is you, tune in, lock in here. I'm going to give you a 5-step protocol that nobody talks about that I put to the forefront. And I have people, when they abide by these 5 things, they allow themselves, the percentages of them not only being successful, but continuing to be successful in their health and fitness journey, meaning they maintain and keep the results, skyrockets, goes through the roof. You will very easily see where you dropped the ball previously, why you gave up, why you tried to jump to the next thing, why you were so focused on getting the results as fast as possible, only to lose them and be back to the starting point, or in some cases, even worse. If that's you, let's tune in. Let's talk about it today. That's what we're going to go over. So the topic that we're talking about today is all around your ability to control your emotions. Now, I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds counterintuitive. I know it's not productive in terms of, well, I thought you were going to give me a nutrition protocol. I thought you were going to give me the best workouts to do, or I thought you were going to give me the best nighttime routine to maximize my sleep and all the tangibles and the X's and O's. Yes, those things are the activities. Those things are required. Those are the inputs to yield a very specific output. Now, it doesn't matter the vehicle that you choose, right? Some people choose keto. Some people choose Whole30. Some people choose low carb, high carb, whatever it is, like whatever you want to choose to do, they all work. They all can work in some way, shape, or form. Picking the vehicle that's best for you is going to be most important. Okay. So I'm going to go through these 5 steps. And this is the biggest reason of why I see people lose control self-sabotage all the results. And if they abide by these 5 steps, they can completely turn their lack of progress around, and they can continue on their journey where they were really crushing it, really making progress, and they can pick up right where they left off and do so in a sustainable approach to be able to do this and keep the results for the long term. Okay, so here's the 5-step process. It's all around emotional maturity. How much are you in control of your emotions? And there's 5 steps to this. We're going to start off with number 1. Number 1 is resilience against setbacks. So what I mean by that is you're going to have situations and scenarios. It's not a matter of if, but when they happen. Setbacks are going to happen. Another terminology that I like to use with my clients, instead of using setbacks, we like to use speed bumps. And the reason for that is no matter what, when you go over speed bumps, think about it in your car, you're going to come to a slow, controlled pace to be able to go over those speed bumps. So you have to slow your momentum down. However, you don't have to come to a complete stop. And that's really important. So it doesn't matter how slow you're moving, as long as those wheels stay in motion, hence the reference to a speed bump, you're going to face those things in your health and fitness journey. So expect speed bumps. The quicker you expect them, the more you can be resilient to continue to process through them, go above them, work around them, work through them, partner with a coach, partner with a colleague, somebody that can help you through those things is going to be extremely beneficial. But the biggest thing is being able to wrap your mindset of resiliency around speed bumps, understanding that there's always going to be a way. You just have to be willing to find a way. So if you're somebody who resonates with, man, more than finding a way, I actually am really good at finding an excuse. And that's usually where I quit, is the second it gets hard, something gets difficult, something in life comes up that throws me a curveball that I wasn't expecting. If that's you, step number 1, resiliency, right? I'm going to go back over it again. Resilience against your setbacks. That's super important. Number 2 is healthy decision-making. What do I mean by that? If you have the ability to understand when you do have setbacks / speed bumps, you are in a position of control and intentionality where you can choose to make the healthier decision, right? It's a choice. We have to remember that. So if you're making healthy decisions, you're doing things, you're making a decision, focusing through and filtering through the lens of, is this serving me long term? And if you can make sure that you're looking through that lens to help decipher your decision making, you'll no longer make the quick, fast decision that seems good in the moment, that maybe fulfill a quick dopamine hit, that may give you some temporary happiness, but in the long run, it actually sets you back further and further, right? So healthy decision making is number 2, and that's extremely important. Number 3 is have some self-compassion and patience. Right? Those two are going to go hand in hand. Self-compassion. What I mean by that, when you face these setbacks, when you face these speed bumps, be okay with taking a rest day. I just had a conversation with a client. She's like, this is the first time in this program and really in my life that I've been okay with taking a rest day. I've been okay with being patient with my body as it needs to recover, as I need to get back to baseline so that I can come back in the gym and I can crush it. And allowed her opportunities to focus and double down on the things outside of her workouts, right? Giving her self-love and self-compassion. What does that look like? Well, prioritizing her sleep a little bit better, making sure that if she was a little bit more sore or was experiencing some prolonged soreness from her workouts, prioritizing higher quality protein sources, not just relying on supplements, making sure she gets her sleep and setting up a wind down routine so that she can maximize not only the duration of her sleep, but the quality of her sleep too. Hydration, she can focus on all the little tangible things because she's showing herself some compassion and love around the process of, hey, it's okay to rest temporarily right now. I don't need to beat myself up about it. Just like if I have a binge episode or I go crazy on some food that doesn't serve me, have some compassion with yourself. Acknowledge, okay, where and what was the root cause of this, right? That's the piece of, be okay with saying, hey, it's all right. As long as I can learn from it, as long as I can have some compassion for myself and say, hey, you know what? I'm expecting myself to mess up during this process, right? But in that, I'm going to also have some compassion for myself. I'm going to have some patience with myself. I'm going to allow myself the time that I need to be able to recover from the thing that I just did so that I can get back on the wagon. I can keep the guardrails on as best as possible, and I can keep this ball rolling in the right direction. That requires you to have some self-compassion. Allow yourself that time where needed. Forgive yourself when you do things that are unexpected, that don't serve you, instead of being super hard on yourself, throwing in the towel and be like, oh, I'm going to give up, right? So number 3 is that self-compassion and patience in the process. Patience meaning it's going to take a long time. The faster you expect yourself to go, I'm committing to this journey for the long term, you'll stop worrying about making these shortcuts, these quick decisions, fulfilling these super fast dopamine hits, only to feel feel short, left emptied, left like, man, I left a lot of on the table just by trying to cut a corner and get there as fast as I possibly could. The people who go the fastest or want to go the fastest often struggle the most because they run into so many roadblocks that instead of working through them, around them, over them, finding a solution, they jump ship and go to something completely different. Sometimes it doesn't mean, oftentimes it doesn't mean jumping ship and completely throwing in the towel and pivot, making a super hard pivot. Sometimes it's just a slight tick or a slight adjustment to keep you going in the right direction. So a lot of times it's smaller than we actually think. And that just comes down to having that compassion for yourself, having that patience. So that's number 3. Number 4 is effective stress management. How effective are you at your ability to be in control of your emotions? Are you very reactive to everything? People, circumstances, in the workplace, in general life, in family, your friends, etc. All those things that may not necessarily serve you and your goal and the directions that you're going towards and you're pursuing for your health and fitness. You have to be extremely effective at managing the stress that is going to surround you in that. So I'll give you an example. If you're going on a diet and you are putting yourself strategically into a caloric deficit, that is a form of stress. Just like you say that you're getting off in 5 minutes and your boss slams you with, hey, can you stay for an extra hour to answer these emails for me? I got to get out of here. Can you take care of it for me? Right? Man, that was supposed to be my workout time. Now I'm going to have to push my workout back. Or even worse, I hear, man, I'm going to have to miss my workout today. Right. And so this level of stress rises in you, this level of anxiety, this level of frustration versus are you effective at managing that stress? And again, it comes down to, okay, if I know that those things are going to happen, I'm going to be throwing curveballs. I'm going to be throwing speed bumps. How effective, not whether it happens or not, that's a given. It's going to happen. The shape, form, the nuance may be different in every case, in every scenario, but how effective am I? And how am I choosing to respond when these things happen? So there's 2 different scenarios you can happen. We'll use that example that I was using again. You're off in 5 minutes. Your boss comes in, knocks on the door. Hey, can you respond to these 5 emails that just came through? I got to get out of here. I got a family emergency. They may not even know that you had a workout schedule, but there's like, hey, can you take care of it, please? I got to go. Bye. Right? They just throw it on your table. That's enough for person A to be like, damn, what the hell? This sucks. I can't do my workout. Why do they have to do that and throw this on my plate? I already had a ton of stuff. I'm already doing a bunch of things for my boss today already. Then they throw this on me with 5 minutes to go before I'm ready to clock out. If you're in that process, that's person A. Person B goes, accept it for what it is. This is the task at hand. The faster I get through this, the quicker and effectively I can respond to these emails, the sooner I can get out. Maybe I have to push my workout back. That's a little bit fine. Maybe I have to do 1 or 2 less sets so that I can keep my schedule in place and I can go pick up the kids and I can go get home at a decent time and I can make dinner, etc. So it doesn't mess up your entire day. Maybe that's what you got to do. So your ability to pivot and adjust and maximize based on your cards that are dealt that day is extremely important. So that comes down to number 4. How effective are you at managing your stress? Okay, so again, there's person A and there's person B. Person A just is very reactive. They are easy to and quick to point out all their frustrations, all the things that they can't do, why this sucks, why them. They feel like they're targeted. They feel like they're a victim. Person B goes, okay, yes, this sucks and this is unfortunate and this isn't ideal. However, if these are my cards that have been dealt, how and what is the best way that I can possibly play these to be effective given the current circumstance? And if you can do that in every situation, in every scenario, your ability to manage stress will skyrocket and you'll let less things affect you, which in turn you will be in the long run more successful, not just in the short term, but sustainably and for the longevity of your health and fitness. Number 5, improve self-awareness and goal setting. What does that mean? When you are in those situations, let's use that previous example that I was just talking about. When you find yourself complaining that your boss just came in and threw a huge workload on you that affected your workout time, that affected and pushed back your dinner with your family, that affected all these things, understand and how aware are you in terms of how you're choosing to respond. Self-awareness is huge. Am I choosing to respond like person A, or am I choosing to respond like person B, like we described before? That awareness around when you're feeling stressed out, when you're in a reactive state, when you're doing things out of emotion and you have zero emotional awareness or control, do you recognize when you're doing that? Because I'll say this, just because it's in our innate human anatomy and feature to want to react to those things, right? And I'm not saying that you're not going to react. We all react, right? We all do it. The question is, what's the duration? How long are you going to react? And then how quickly do you make the adjustment of, okay, it's go time. These are the cards that have been dealt. How am I going to take care of this? It's the difference between looking for a way and looking for an excuse. So how long are you going to label all the excuses? What's the time duration there? When you get presented from your boss in that situation and in that scenario, what's your degree of self-awareness around the choices that you're making? Are you continuing to rattle off the things that don't serve you? How much this sucks? All these limiting beliefs and all these limitations and negative thoughts? Yes, have them. That's okay. But what's your turnaround time? How quickly can you start answering those emails? How quickly can you start finding solutions so that you can get out of the office so that you can keep somewhat of a similar schedule? It's not an end all be all. You don't have to write off your entire workout. And again, I'm just using this as one very specific scenario because I had this with a client the other day and I figured I'd bring it up and share it with you guys. But there's scenarios like this in disguise in every single scenario that you experience in life, right? This is just one in particular. So do you have the ability to improve your self-awareness, realize when you're going through those limiting thoughts so that you can change them, you can correct them, you can shift the trajectory of your progress? And in turn, what happens is if you know yourself, right, if you have a high level of self-awareness, it allows you to set better goals for yourself. What do I mean by that? If you know you're somebody who's like, man, I've never worked out 4 days straight consistently in my life, and although that's where I want to get to, maybe that's not where you start. I see a lot of people that lack the self-awareness and they have these ambitions and it hits January 1st and it hits the first of the year and they're all hyped up and they're like, I want to do 4 and 5 workouts per week. I'm currently doing 0. Although I've never done 4 and 5 in my life, I want to do this because it's the beginning of the year. It's a fresh start. And that's what I do. I would argue that person has a lack of self-awareness. Know yourself, right? I'm not saying strive and shoot for the stars and then land on the moon, right? Like that's totally fine. However, if you know yourself, knowing that, okay, if I fall short of 4 and 5 workouts and I only get 1 and 2, instead of seeing that as better than 0, which you were currently doing, you see that as you fell short. You see that as a limiting belief. You see that as you failed and it's enough to make you give up. Right. So an improved self-awareness helps you set goals. Maybe instead of your goal being 4 to 5 times a week, it's just showing up to the gym twice a week, not even doing a workout, right? Maybe it's just showing up. And then once you show up consistently 1 to 2 times a week, then maybe you can take that a step further. Maybe that looks like, okay, now I'm here at the gym. I've actually made it here consistently twice a week for the last 3 weeks now. Going on week 4 here, not only am I going to show up, I'm going to start at least for the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to begin my workout. And I know it sounds like baby steps. I know it sounds like small incremental process and progress, and it is. And I'm telling you guys, that is the key to long-term longevity, success, not just in health and fitness, but really just anything, right? If you crush it in anything, you have incremental progress, no matter how good, no matter how slow, and no matter how imperfect it is. That incremental progress over time compounds. So instead of going 4 to 5 times a week on January 1st and you fall short, maybe you get it for a week and then the next week you fall short and then the next week you don't do any and you're back to where you started quick. Instead, go, I'm just going to show up for 1 to 2 days. Pick something that almost seems super small, right? That comes down to awareness to self. How well do you know yourself? How well do you know in the past? Can you look back and how many times have you given up so quick when you faced your first speed bump? Have that improvement in self-awareness. Understand yourself. Know how confident you are. Know how much you believe in yourself, and then build that progressively over time. And that will help you with goal setting. That will help you with setting something that's reachable. It's going to stretch you a little bit, but you can allow yourself to incrementally improve, be imperfect in the process. And then that way, time and time again, you can incrementally move the needle in the right direction versus making this 0 to 5 workouts in a week. And anything less than that is a failure. That's a way to set yourself up to not be successful in the long term. So again, I'm going to go over these 5 points. Number 1, resilience against setbacks. Number 2, healthy decision-making. Number 3, self-compassion and patience. Number 4, effective stress management, not being in reactive mode. And then number 5, improved self-awareness and goal setting are going to be crucial. So if you can lock those in, you'll improve your emotional awareness, your ability to control your emotions in your journey, in your process. And nobody talks about this, but I'm telling you, it's the foundation that helps set the trajectory for the long haul, for your health and success in your journey. So if this was helpful, guys, share it with a friend, share it with a family member, share it with somebody who you feel like would benefit from it. And then until then, we will see you guys on the next one.